What if I told you being introverted is not a real thing? What would you think about this? How would you feel? What questions would come to your mind? Do you feel offended? I could see it possibly being extremely offensive because perhaps you've been living your whole life believing you are an introvert. Perhaps you've told people that you're an introvert. Perhaps you feel very introverted. You feel the introvert symptoms of feeling completely drained by social interactions, feeling the most comfortable when you're home alone. What if I told you, I feel like it's a moment in the Matrix, like I want to have the red pill and the blue pill right here, right? And it's like, what if I told you that if you took this Beats pill, anyway, that wasn't a real Beats pill. What if I told you that the only reason you feel this way is actually because you have bad mindsets and mentalities about socializing? What if if you take one thing from this video, before you leave, before you click off, before you move on with the rest of your life, if I could just give you one idea to try to keep in the back of your mind, and every time you're feeling, you want to say to yourself, I'm an introvert, or the social situation is draining me, or I don't want to socialize. What if what's really going on is you care too much about what other people think about you? You care too much about what other people think about you, how other people feel about you. What if the reason you're actually drained from these social interactions is because you're thinking about what you're going to say way too much? You're filtering your words. You're too concerned about how you look. You're too concerned about what other people think about you. Just a whole mannerism and a host of ideas that I could probably go on. It's just all these different thoughts that come to your mind of some sort of fear of the social interaction. And it's not that socializing is draining you. And as an example, have you never had a situation in your life where you felt like socializing actually gave you more energy? Actually made you feel better? Have you never once had a situation in your life where socializing made you feel better? And what was the difference here? I would like to place the argument that it was just your mindset. It was the way you viewed the interaction. You had a positive experience and you viewed it as positive. You got a lot of validation. You felt like the person liked you. You felt like the conversation went well. You felt like the situation went well. And this was just reinforcing that positive ideas, telling you that you don't need to worry about what this person thinks. Just as a thought experiment for you. Really would like to leave you with this. Next time you're in a situation where you're feeling drained socially and you're telling yourself that this social interaction is draining you, ask yourself why. And this is not to say that social interactions can't drain a person who's fully even extroverted. If you're with a person who's saying a lot of negative things, perhaps that's just not a person you should socialize with. That's not a person you should associate with. If you're with a person who's perhaps always asking you for favors and never giving you favors in return, this is an example of a person you should socialize with. Ask yourself, take a real deep look. And I'm not saying this to tell you that there's something wrong with you. I'm just sharing this in hopes that together we can live better lives. I'm facing this myself. And the real reason for me making this video is because got some Call of Duty here. That looks, camera is only focused so well. Had to set it on manual focus. So, because when I leave it on autofocus, it doesn't work that well. When I sit at home and all I do is watch YouTube videos, specifically mindless entertainment videos, not so much when they're really inspirational and informative and motivating, because then I feel more like getting out and doing things and I'm in that energy. If I'm sitting here and all I'm doing is watching other people play video games, which is something I may do, watching these channels that are just pure entertainment, as much as I may enjoy them, what happens is all I want to do is sit there and watch it more. Even when I don't feel good, even when mentally I'm thinking this is not good for me and I should be doing something else because I know something else would be more better for me, I just want to sit there and do it more. When someone comes over, I don't want to go talk to them. I don't want to see anyone. I don't want to talk to anyone. I don't want to talk to my own family. I don't want to do anything. And as I see myself getting into these ruts of not wanting to do anything, though I know I don't feel good that way. And that's not to say that I'm some kind of naturally extroverted person. I've been very introverted for perhaps most of my life. I was seriously into video games for years of my life. I had phases. I used to go through phases where I'd just play a bunch of video games, get bored of that, just watch a bunch of anime, get bored of that, just watch a bunch of movies, get bored of that, and then start the cycle all over. You know, I've definitely, you know, throughout my life, I've only gotten close with so many different people. I've lived a very introverted life, very kind of shy, very hiding, very away. And I've just learned more and more and more. As I learn more techniques too, as I learn ways to help me socialize better. I learned tips and tricks from people who are just professionals at socializing and how to socialize better. And I started to see for the first time in my entire life, literally, talking about only like a couple years ago, for the first time in my entire life, that these social interactions are starting to make me feel good. And they're actually starting to reinforce positive things inside of me. And really getting back on the whole point of this video is to say that what if you're kind of in an introvert rut? And it could not, you know, rut, it sounds kind of conflicting because that sounds like something you're only in temporarily, then you leave and it's only going on for maybe a couple of months. But maybe what if you're actually in an introverted rut? If you're watching this video for this long, you probably resonate and relate with something I've said here. Something has got to stick. And so I really want to make this point that what if you're just in a rut of being an introvert and you're just daily following habits that are reinforcing you to be introverted? What if you're actually doing things on a daily basis making you more introverted? You're avoiding social situations. You're doing habits. You have habits that don't involve socializing with other people. You don't make attempts to socialize with other people. You're just encouraging yourself to continually to be introverted. And what if you switch your habits to being ones that force you to be more social? Is it possible you may find out you're more extroverted than you believe? This is something that I've seen people talk about, but very, very, very seriously, I've seen this happen in my own life. Very extreme examples. When I work a job that forces me to be social, I'm around lots of people. Like I worked at an Amazon once and I worked at a Target once. And granted, when I first couple of months I was working there, it took me a while to get comfortable before I started opening up and just talking to everyone kind of freely and not even caring so much. It took me perhaps at least 6 months to finally get to that point. Though when I got to that point, it was just like an upward spiral. I just kept on wanting, just kept socializing. I didn't care. It was just social. And I noticed, the biggest difference I noticed is not how I am at work. I mean, that's pretty obvious that over a couple period of months I started socializing with everyone. But the biggest difference I noticed is how I am when I'm not at work. When I wasn't working jobs where I had to be really social, I've had jobs as a truck driver where I don't really need to be social at all. Like, I can be extremely antisocial. I feel like I don't even really have coworkers because I barely see them. You know, I might see them only for a few minutes a day, possibly. You know, I've had, well, if I see them for a few hours, that'd be a very long time for me to see them. And I'd notice in little ways, like when I go to the supermarket, if I'm not being very social, when I go to the supermarket, I'm afraid. I'm afraid of interacting with anyone. Even when I need to, I'm afraid of any kind of social situation that comes up. When I'm being consistently unsocial, then it's like I get stuck being consistently unsocial and I get afraid of any situation that comes up, and I'm a lot more worried what people think about me, and these situations just drain me a lot more, but it's in my head because I'm thinking about the situation a lot more. I'm a lot more worried about what these people are going to say, about what these people are going to even do. I may even be in like some sort of a fear state that I'm like, maybe worried I'm going to get into more of a problem because I'm just having been experienced so much socializing that it's like I become afraid. And when I'm in a place that forces me to be constantly social, especially like for me, like working at Target recently was like the biggest situation of that. Then when I go out, I don't even care. I'm talking with everyone so freely, and it's like I'm a completely different person. And I used to also see this very, very extreme examples with a person I was dating at the time too. This person was just in a life that caused them to be very antisocial. They didn't really go out as much. They didn't really socialize as much. They weren't working at the time. They didn't really have anything that even forced them to be social. So whenever they went out to the supermarket, it was a much more scary situation. And I just really related that and felt that in myself, that I saw that when I wasn't working, or I wasn't working a job that forced me to be social, going out was an incredibly scary situation. Though when I was in a situation that forced me to be social, going out was no big deal. Socializing was no big deal. There was no reason to think about it. So this video, just going to summarize it here, has really been to say that what if being introverted and extroverted are not permanent states of condition, permanent states of mind? It's not who you are truly as a person. And what if you're just living a life that's encouraging you to either be extroverted or to be introverted? Like on the flip side, someone who seems like a natural extrovert, maybe when he grew up, it was just in his upbringing, like he just happened to have a lot of friends. He happened to get along with people. Perhaps his parents had a really good relationship and they socialized really well and he learned really well from that. Perhaps he was just always receiving a lot of positive reinforcement and a lot of positive encouragement throughout his life. And he just happened to naturally start to socialize early, start to socialize well, and he just kept it up. But what if that same person is not actually naturally extroverted? What if you take that same exact person who's a natural extrovert? What if he grew up in a single parent household as an only child and he was homeschooled? How extroverted would a naturally extroverted person be? You just flip the script and you say this person is a natural introvert, and I'm like, no. Let's drop some of this nature versus nurture thing, and let's, for the sake of just taking your own power back, taking control of your life, and just stop with these mindsets that you're stuck the way you are, and to just truly believe that you can grow and you can change. Imagine what it would be like if you just tried. And the real point here too is, if you want to be introverted, you can be introverted. If you want to be someone more extroverted, stop telling yourself you're introverted. Stop believing you're introverted. Go realize that what you're really experiencing is fear of socializing, fear of rejection, fear of people not liking you, fear of people not approving of you. And this also dates back into tribal times. In an evolutionary sense, some of these emotions really make a lot of sense, because you don't want to be excluded from a tribe. You don't want to be kicked out of the tribe, because that leaves you in the wilderness on your own, where you're a lot more vulnerable to animals or other people just taking advantage of you, possibly just straight up murdering you, or just kidnapping you and doing whatever they want to do with you. So, and on top of that, it's very hard you can't just walk into another tribe. You can't just say, oh, I find another tribe and I'm just going to join them. That other tribe's going to wonder, why are you here? Why aren't you with your tribe? Why'd you get kicked out of your tribe? And they're going to believe that there's something wrong with you, that you probably have diseases and that's why they kicked you out. Maybe they don't have to assume that you got kicked out because you weren't a good person. They might assume you got kicked out because there's something, you have a condition that's just killing people around you. You have some sort of disease, or they may believe that war is going to follow for you, and that you're actually are still with the tribe and you're trying to sneak into this tribe to bring war eventually to them. I don't want to get too much into over exaggerating on those details there. Just want to make the point that it's in your DNA, it's in your evolution to have certain emotions, to have fear, to not want to be lonely, and you got to realize that this is the modern day world. This is not the time and place for you to let your emotions get the best of you. This is not the time or place for you to just believe that you're stuck the way you are, you're stuck where you are, and you're powerless to change your life. This is the time, this is truly the time on the planet where you, no matter who you are, where you came from, what your race is, what your nationality is, what your height is, what you look like, what your age, this is truly the time, the biggest time in human history that you truly have the most power to take control of your life and to do whatever you want to do with it. Is being introverted real? Or are you just afraid of socializing? Are you just too worried what other people think about you? And when I leave it at that as my last point, just really want you to take that with you, if you've been here through for this whole time, is try to really think about it next time you're socializing. What is really going through your mind? What are the thoughts playing in your back of your mind? What might be fueling those thoughts? What kind of worries and fears you have? And what are those worries and fears truly based off of? And I just keep bringing this idea up and again because most likely this is the one. I mean, sure, you could probably come up with something, but most likely it's some form of you're worried about what these people are going to think about you. You're too worried about how you look, how you sound, what you should say, if these people like you, and you don't have enough internal gonna take down a different road, but not enough internal self-love, self-validation, self-approval. You're not secure enough in your own self. You're not grounded enough in your own self that you don't need to even worry about what these people think about you. And perhaps that's why you become so introverted, is because that's the only time through massive amounts of introverts, through massive amounts of isolation, that you start to focus on yourself and you start to only care about yourself and you're not worried about what other people think about you. So you got to start to use this more as a power and learn how to bring that into situations when you have to be social. Realize that being social is a powerful tool. You can't do everything on your own. You can't do everything on your own. It doesn't matter if you're the richest man in the world, right? The only way you're going to do everything on your own is if you go out in the nature and you literally build your own house and you hunt your own food. And in a sense, then you're still dependent on nature, though at least you can be antisocial. If you're living in the regular modern day world, someone else is gonna build your house. Someone else is gonna build your shades. Someone else is gonna build your bed. Someone else is bringing your food to the supermarket. They're under no circumstances in this modern day world can you even possibly do everything on your own. The system's not even built for you to be able to do everything on your own. You need to socialize. You have to socialize. It's a vital tool for your growth. Through socialization is how you can get everything you want out of your life, whether that's new relationships, romantic, and just friendly, whether it's you're running a business and you have to deal with your employees. You obviously need to have good social skills, good communication skills. Whether you're at work and you just want to enjoy your work environment more, you just want to have better relationships with your coworkers, you want to feel comfortable, more happy at work, whether you want to develop better relationships with your family. Anything you really want to do, you want to go on vacation, as antisocial as you'd like to be, perhaps you still have to go to the airport, you still have to socialize with people there. You can't really just avoid all socialization altogether. And even if you could avoid as much socializing as possible, do you struggle with depression? Do you? Do you struggle with controlling your emotions? Do you feel emotionally unstable? Do you feel sad a lot? What's really going on? Are you really just sitting there home in the most happy, blissful, amazing state that you can possibly be in? Are you really just home in this most wonderful, magical, blissful state that there's truly no reason for you to listen to anything I'm saying in this video? That there's truly no reason for you to try to make changes in your life? Are you really just that magically happy? Just sitting at home by yourself, doing whatever isolated tasks or habits you'd like to do? Or is there a part of you that knows if you just moved a little bit past your fear, you just got a little bit past your fear, and you got a little bit better socializing, even just a little bit, that your entire life could possibly change for the better? Thank you for watching. If I helped you in any way, feel free to subscribe to get more videos like this, and definitely feel free to leave questions and comments below. Any video suggestions you like, anything you want me to open up more about in this video, or a completely different subject altogether that you just want to learn more about, you're interested in learning about, feel like it would help you in your life. Thanks for watching.